Hello and welcome back to the Edian project.
Indeed.
Indeed, yeah. I'm just going to say very rarely sorry about my vocals on that last one, but I had a bad throat and I needed to get it out, but I've been very embarrassed, haven't I, Ed, about it?
Yeah. Well, he was actually saying to me, well, why should I suffer that? He says, I'll let all these listeners suffer it as well. I shouldn't suffer it on my own.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, Don't Adjust Your Sets, it was completely all my fault, and I should really check to see if it's in my sound good mode, if I've got one of those.
Oh yeah, we're going to give him a good lashing later on.
Or even, you know, sound acceptable mode. Perhaps I've got one of them. Anyway, today Ed's going to review
Well, I've now purchased a couple of copies of IK Multimedia's new Amplitude 5 Max and TONEX MAX, and we'll just do a little delve into them, just see how it compares with other softwares that I have, like the native Helix. I've got some other stuff that I haven't done yet, and in fact I haven't installed it yet, but I've actually got a copy of Scuffham's S-Gear. In the future we'll install that and put that up again. We'll see how that compares. But I've got a funny feeling that these softwares are going to be much of a muchness. At the end of the day, I think it's going to be a preference of what the individual likes.
Well, that's probably...
Like you pick your guitar that you like to play, or the amp you like, or the drums you like to play, or the keyboard you like to play, or whatever. And I think plugins are no exception. Amp simulators, you know, your own ear will pick what sounds good to you, like an amp or whatever, and it doesn't mean to say that what you've got is better than anyone else, or what they've got. It just means that that's the one you like.
Oh God, yeah. Anyway, we're going to hand it over to Ed. So, Ed, go for it.
I will go for it. Right guys, as I said at the start, I've got a couple of software purchases here that I've made, which are the IK Multimedia Amplitude 5 Max and the TONEX MAX. And we're going to give them a little run through, nothing in depth, just to let you have a listen and I'll try them out, a few of them, and just see how they are and see what my thoughts are regarding other softwares that I already use, like Helix Native or any of the other amp sims we have. Right, so what we've got here is Amplitude 5 Max up at the moment. As you can see on the screen, we have, I've brought that up and well, on the selection drop down here, I've selected Amplitude 5 Max, which is basically gives you everything in the Amplitude package. You've also got the cut down versions, which are the CS and the S, which one of them is a free one, and obviously the more you pay, the more you get. So this is the flagship Amplitude 5 Max. So we select that, and then you have this drop down menu of different presets. The top one, we're going to select that. As you notice, on the right hand side as well, we have a list of amps under collection. They come in banks of clean. There's a lot of amps that are set in the clean variety. Then you have crunch, which most of the time it's the same amp but a bit more drive on it. And then we go into the higher gain section. And then if you go into type, the type then will bring in distortion pedals and compression pedals, reverb delay pedals, and all sorts of stuff like that. Anyway, we're going to start off with the one that defaults at the top of the menu, which is termed as a 80 session clean. This is, so we've selected that. As you can see, it's set up with 3 amps on a three-way path. It's based on a Mesa Boogie. There's a compressor on the front end. They're going into the cabinets. When we come out, we have delays and reverbs, EQs, and a compressor at the end, etc., etc. So we'll give these a few of these a try, and then we'll jump into TONEX and see how that delivers and what the differences, if any, there are. So here we go. Let's give this a little try first. For me, that's still a bit too much reverb on that, so let's jump into the end of the chain here, and we'll see that we have a parametric EQ, a digital reverb, and then we have an LA type compressor at the end. But what we'll do is we'll take the level on the reverb down just a tad, and nicer. Very good, very good. So let's try the next one. We'll try the second one down, which is the ambient blues lead. Now, this appears to be based on a Fender 57 Deluxe, a Tweed Deluxe by the looks of it. Basically on this one, all you have is a tone control and an instrument volume, and then we have a compressor and a tube screamer in the front end. After the cab, we then have a Fender that looks like a tape delay. Then we have the digital delay. We have a Pultec EQ by the looks of it, and then the LA2 compressor again at the end, and we end up with a sound something like this. Yeah, nice little. Let's roll back the volume, see if it cleans up. It does, it cleans up quite nicely. Now we shall try another one. Let's try, right, here's one here. It's a Comfortably Gilmore solo, which I think is very self-explanatory. Dave Gilmour, Pink Floyd, it says, apparently it's supposed to be his Comfortably Numb type solo. Again, he's using his legendary high watt amp. And we have in front end, we have a compressor, we have a Rox EQ, and a big pig, which I'm not familiar with, but I would imagine it's some sort of overdrive or distortion pedal. We have twin amps, high watts, running into two 4x12 cabs. We have a digital flanger on one of the amps, and then we have an Echoman, electroharmonics Echoman on each side of the paths. So obviously this is a stereo setup. So let's see how this sounds. Bearing in mind I'm not using the Strat at the moment, I'm using the telly, but Very nice, very nice. I think we'll try one more on here and then we'll jump over to the Tonex. So you have an assortment of amps here, you know, you have a high watts, we've got all sorts of Marshalls, plexis and silver faces, we've got orange, tiny terrors, orange, all sorts of orange amps, we've got Fenders, Supersonics, we've got the Z, we've got the Dr. Z, train wrecks, and well, we've got high gains, which have got the Marshalls, etc., Soldanos. Again, we've got rock verbs from Orange, Thunderberbs, and then we've got a plethora of bass amps as well for the bass contingency. But we'll try one more of the presets here, and I think we'll jump down and try a modern plexi lead sound, which is obviously a Marshall plexi, and hopefully it should sound like this. Very plexy, very plexy. So let's jump over to the Tonex. Let's have a try of that and see what we get. So we're going to select, incidentally, these, depending on the plugins you get, like on my Helix Native, it gets loaded into Cubase under the folder Other for some reason. Now, I know that some of the other plugins, there is a folder called Guitar, and they get loaded into the Guitar. But for some reason, the IK Multimedias are loaded into a folder called Distortion. So you may have to look for these things. So we go to Distortion here, and then we have to scroll down. You can see the third one from the top here is the Amplitude, but if we scroll down to near the bottom, the third one from the bottom is your Tonex. So we now select our Tonex, and we have him up here now. So he defaults to a program called Black Angus, which is obviously WACDC fans. This is a Marshall ACD type sound, which Angus Young would play. So let's have a quick listen and see what we have here. Turn the gain up a bit for this. I'm going to try this one, that's the fourth one. We've got something here called a telecomplement, which is, by the looks of it, it's on the right hand side. You've got a description, the amp and cab model. It's basically a Fender 57 Customs, characters on clean, which I would say is rather clean, yes. Yes, very nice, very nice. Now, I would like to actually try, we'll try one more See what we have. Let's try this Texas coffee. There. I'm not sure what this is based on, but so there's a few of the amps that are in it. You could take days to go through everything that's here. So do yourself a favour, download the free versions and give it a try. In fact, you could download the 30-day trial and try out a lot more. But if you download the free version, you will get a very basic pack, which you can add to as you want. You know, as you decide if you like it, add as much or as little to it as you want. And I'm sure with the Tonex, as more people upload profiles and captures that they've done, there'll be more that you can download. One interesting feature on that I must commend them for is that there is a file play system here. There are some files here of guitar parts that are pre-played in a variety of styles. And you can click on that and you can addition the amp presets as you go through it without having to play anything. And what we have here, if we go back to, say, the beginning, we'll go back to maybe a clean, say this telly comp. There is a function here just to the right of the amp, but slightly below it. The first selection, it says wood. I don't know what that means. Maybe I've got no idea. But there's a play function next to it. So whichever preset you have selected, if you click on this play button, Jimi Hendrix will play. Jimi Hendrix will play a file for you. And you can actually, if you use the drop-down menu, we can then try the next one down, which is space. Different type of file. Very much like in the mold of the modern day guitar players, Coldplay, Nirvana kind of things. We can go down a bit further and try something like Sheen. And of course you can play this with different, and you can select these different same parts played through a different preset. Nice clean amp there. Go back to the original one at the top. Oh, sorry. Go back to wood. Clean Jimi Hendrix now. And then you can have the second one I played, which was the space, played on a nice cleaner amp. So it saves you having to play the parts if you're like me and lazy. But it makes it quick to select one of these, and then you can quickly audition all through, scrolling down through all these presets. It makes it very easy. So there you go, guys. For me, I think it's another excellent amp sim plugin. Whether it's any better or any worse than others, I think is down to the individual. I mean, I personally think they're very good. I haven't played it a lot, but for the short time I've delved into it, I'm really impressed with it. I'm looking forward to getting into it more and learning more about it. But as I said, it's like everything. We all have our own favourite guitars, we have our own favourite amps that we like, and our own favourite anything. And plugins is no different. Some people will prefer this, others will prefer something like the Helix. As I say, I've got one that I still have to install and try, and I'm looking forward to it because I've used it years ago, but I'm looking forward to the latest version, which I believe is version 3. It's the Scuffham's S-Gear, and I'm looking forward to trying that one out. But at the end of the day, I think there's not a lot between all these things. They're all very, very good. It's a matter of what your own ear leads you towards. So I hope that's been useful for you guys, and leave some comments if you want, and I'll hand you back to our outro.
Well, actually, I quite like that. I think it was. I don't know what. Do you have a favourite between that and the Helix?
Actually, I don't. I mean, I think all these softwares now, in fact, even the hardware units, whether it's the Fractals or the Helix, the Kemper or the Quad Cortex, they're all so good now. There's not a lot of difference between any of them. I think, again, it's a personal thing. It's like, I keep going back to this, it's like, buying a guitar. You buy a guitar, you pick a guitar up and it speaks to you, you like it. But I hand it to you and it's not something, well, yeah, it's okay, but I prefer this.
Yeah.
And both the guitars probably are equally as good. It's just a preference, and I think it's the same with the hardware versions, and I think the software are getting so close to the real thing now that it's just a preference. I would not be adverse to working if I only had one of any of the plugins to work with. I'd be quite happy. It wouldn't faze me.
Which one would you choose, though?
Well, at the moment, I would still stick with the Helix, only because I've been using it for so long.
But does it have,
and I'm more familiar with it.
Does it have any Vox emulation?
It does, yes.
Whereas this one doesn't.
Well, that's why I'm not sure. I haven't been totally through the whole thing because there's so much in it. But and so many collections and bundles and I went through the whole thing, but so far I've only seen any Vox simulations are what are in the bundled classics, which are under the Brian May title. And of course there would be Vox, because if it's a signature tones, there will be Voxes. But I haven't actually seen any of the standalone Voxes, but I could be wrong. They could be in there. And I would be very surprised if they're not, bearing in mind that most of the other software competitors have those in it. Because there's 4, 5 type of amps, really, that you would have that are known as the stalwarts in tone, and it would be a Fender amp of some sort, a Marshall or high watt or Park type amp of some sort, a Vox AC30, AC50, some sort of Vox amp, and then you would have sort of latterly some of the more modern boutique high gain amps like Miss Boogies or Bogners, Engels, Diesels, so forth. Yeah. So I would imagine that they'll probably be, and if they're not, I would imagine in a very soon to be released update, there will be, if they're not there already.
Shall we say that we haven't been sponsored by these?
No, we haven't been sponsored by anything. I mean, I don't even sponsor myself.
No.
I don't even sponsor you.
No. No sponsor.
I mean, no, there's no sponsor. I mean, all these guitars that I have, I bought.
So what we're doing next then, Ed? Tell them.
Well,
tell them, Ed.
We would like to attack creating a new original composition.
But you've got a couple that you're thinking about.
I've got a couple of things, yeah. So, and I think what we should do is like what a lot of the artists have done in the past. Is, I mean, a lot of artists or bands have went into the studio with ideas and have written stuff, and they go and they record it, they lay it down. But there's amazing the amount of great albums and hit records that have been crafted in the studio by musicians and bands or whoever going in there with no idea what they're going to do. They've hired the studio time and then scratching their head, and somebody's played a riff or somebody's sitting down, did a chord structure on a piano or something, and they have actually, from a skeletized idea, they've crafted these things in the studio as they've been working.
Oh, yeah. So that'll be the next episode, won't it, Ed? Yeah. So tune in for that.
Yeah, we hope you will.
Let us know what you think of Ed's latest plugin down in the comments.
Yeah.
How's that sound?
That sounds great.
So, guys, we'll see you next time.
Auf Wiedersehen.